All right, shalom, shalom. Kal halayam la Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. Much peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's pushing His word in truth and sincerity of heart. Shalom. This is your brother Batak, back again through the Spirit with another lesson. And Lord willing, this lesson be edifying. So I was strolling on endtimeheadlines.org, and I ran across this headline, and I also want to pull up a video that I seen that I just want to make some comments on, bring some scriptures out, and Lord willing, this lesson be edifying. As you can see, 3 potential triggers events that could pull the U.S. into a direct war with Iran, which we know what the prophecy states concerning this situation, you know. Hold on, let me see. I'm supposed to be aware. I'm supposed to read it different, but it says, are other nations going to get involved in the war between Israel and Iran and Israel? The answer to that, according to prophecy, is yes. This is the great war, the third woe that was prophesied in the Bible. There was going to be 3 world wars. The first war was past, which was World War I. The second woe was this World War II. And the third woe, like the scripture's going to say, I'm going to get it, Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past, World War II. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So according to Bible prophecy, John the Revelator, he's seen all 3 of these wars thousands of years ago on the island of Patmos, because the Lord revealed them to him in visions. So he's seen these, he described them as woes, but through the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, they broke it down that those woes represents the world wars. So he's seen men going to war, killing each other. He's seen these things happening in these visions, and he wrote them down to be revealed in their time. And that time is now. The time for these events to happen is now, which is the last days of the last days. At the end of Esau's world, where he was going to be destroyed by this war, this last war, by the lake of fire, which is the America being penetrated with thousands of, millions of warheads. Because that's what the power of the missile is. It's in the warhead, in the front of the missile, at the top of the missiles. You know, that's what does the damage. The missile is just the propulsion, I believe that's the right word, propulsion system to get the missile to where it needs to go. But then when in mid-fight, it starts to break apart, and then the warheads start to rain down. So that is what the lake of fire is talking about. It's talking about all of these nuclear warheads detonating on the soils of America and turning this place into a lake of fire, because everything is going to be totally destroyed. And it's going to look like a lake that burns with fire, man. You know? So he described it the best way he could. That lake of fire is America being on fire because of the nuclear bombs. So it says, are any other nations going to get involved in the war between Iran and Israel? We will soon see the U.S. military get directly involved in attacking Iran. Will we soon see the U.S. military get directly involved in attacking Iran? Those are very important questions that all of us should be considering right now, which we know the answer to this question. The prophets have already revealed it, starting from the elder apostles on down. If you have ears to hear, yes, you know, if you understand prophecy, you understand what's going on in the world, you will see that we're living in that time, and that these events, America getting involved in this war, is going to happen, just like they got America involved in World War II. As I discussed on Friday, we have reached one of the most critical points in our period of human history. If additional countries are drawn into the conflict, we really could be facing a World War III scenario, this is how World War III is how America gonna be destroyed. It's gonna be destroyed by fire. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood," because that's how ancient wars were fought. But this is going to be a new type of warfare. "But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire," which is what you see going on now. A lot of nations have beefed up their missiles. You know, that's how wars are fought today, with bombs and stuff like that. It says, "Fortunately, only conventional weapons have been used so far. If it appears that the IDF has achieved air superiority in Iranian airspace, and more than 170 targets have been hit in just 3 days. Israel says roughly 50 of its fighter jets carried out dozens of strikes inside Iran overnight, targeting the country's nuclear development capabilities and its military and energy infrastructure. The IDF says it has struck over 170 targets and more than 720 military infrastructure components in just 3 days of fighting as part of its Operation Rising Lions. Throughout the night, Israeli Air Force fighters jets flew over Tehran and struck infrastructure targets of the Iranian nuclear project under the guidance of the intelligence director. The IDF said the Iranians are reeling, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is promising the Iranians that what they have felt so far is nothing to compare to what they will be handed in the coming days. So see, the Israelis are not showing any signs of slowing down their attacks upon Iran, which is going to cause Iran to retaliate with their own strikes of their own. Things are only going to get more intense, you know. Things are only going to get more intense. Not Netanyahu and said Israel strikes have set back Iran's nuclear program, possibly by years, and rejected international calls for restraint. See, these devils ain't letting up. We will hit every site and every target of the blah 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 regime. I'm not even finna try to say that. And what they have felt so far is nothing to compare to what they will be handed in the coming days, he said in a video message. Of course, the Iranians have been hitting Israel pretty hard too. Children among the at least 13 people who have died in Israel following Iran's barrage of missiles is sent in the latest rounds of escalating strikes between the two nations. Iran said Israel stuck his blah blah blah. Let me see. Hold on. It's just it didn't really give you no key components. 3 potential trigger events that could pull U.S. into the direct war with Iran. It didn't really give you none. It just told you everything that's going on. Hold on, let me see. Yeah. Oh, continue. Okay, here goes some more. We know, according to prophecy, that America's going to get involved anyways. One thing about that is it says, oh, here it goes. So what are some potential trigger events that could cause the U.S. to get directly involved in attacking Iran? So if America gets involved, then guess who's going to who has a defense pact with Russia? Iran does. So if Iran is getting attacked by the U.S., Russia's going to step in. And then, boom, Everybody gonna pick their sides, man. It's gonna get spicy. Things gonna get interesting. First of all, if U.S. bases in the region get attacked the U.S. will most definitely respond. Because one thing Iran can do, they can start attacking the American bases that are in the Western Asia. It says Iran has formally cautioned the U.S., United Kingdom, and France that if they interfere with its retaliatory missile and drone strikes against Israel, their forces stationed in the region will be considered legitimate targets. This announcement was transmitted through state-controlled Iranian media on Saturday and follows intensified hostilities between Israel and Iran following attacks linked to Iran's nuclear dispute with Israel. Western countries are now caught in a precarious position. U.S. President Donald Trump has pledged support for Israel's defense, and American defense officials have acknowledged the role of U.S. forces in countering airborne threats directed towards Israeli territory. So America's already definitely helping the Israelis. It says, would the Iranians really be that stupid? They can't handle what Israel is throwing at them, and so adding the U.S. to the mix would seem to be a pretty foolish thing to do. Yeah, see, that's that pride. They don't know, according to prophecy, man, that this is debate. This is debate. They're baiting the Lord, the Heavenly Father is baiting you into this war, man. He wants America to get involved because he has a plan to overthrow Babylon, to overthrow America. Zephaniah 3:8. This is the word of the Lord spoken by the prophet Zephaniah concerning the times that we're living in now. Therefore wait ye upon me, said Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination, the Lord's plan, the Lord's judgment is to gather the nations that I may assemble the kingdoms. And that's what he's doing. He's assembling them together to fight against each other, to pour upon them mine indignation, the Lord's righteous anger or justifiable anger, because he's pissed. Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured by the fire of my jealousy. You know, that fire is going to come from the missiles, and it's also going to come from the chariots, so-called UFOs, that the Lord is going to return with. So the Lord is baiting you, Babylonians. He's pulling you into this war for a reason, so he can destroy America. President Trump is holding back the U.S. military for now, but he has told the Iranians exactly what will happen if U.S. bases start getting hit. The United States has nothing to do with the attack on Iran. That's a lie. That is a total lie. Tonight, if we are attacked in any way, shape, or form by Iran, the full strength and might of the United States armed forces will come down on you at levels never seen before. However, we can easily get a deal done between Iran and Israel and end this bloody conflict. See, the full force of the United States is going to come down on you. And then Russia going to step in, brother. Big Russia, that bear that's going to put an end to this place is going to step in. I'm going to get straight to the point. Ezekiel 38. And this is talking about the prophecy of Russia guarding these different nations. Ezekiel 38 in verse I'm going to start at 1. It says, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, which is talking about Russia. You know, it says, and say, thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws. See, the Lord is going to, and you're starting to see that now with, Russia going back to that old Soviet spirit, The Lord is turning Russia up back to their old ways. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company of bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with him, because Gomer and Togomar is referring to Turkey. Because Turkey is going to get involved in this conflict too, and they're going to side with Russia. Because you got to remember, Turkey is also an Islamic state. Majority of the people that are in Turkey are Islamic, if you will. So they're going to side with Russia against, the other nations. Be thou prepared and prepare thyself, and thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Be a guard unto them. That's what Russia's going to be to these different nations. And one of those nations is the top main nation. It is Iran. Because Iran is being attacked by a more powerful enemy than them. They need it the most. They need the most protection. Because America can really get involved. And Iran has a nice, tough military, but I don't think they can't handle the U.S. So that's where Russia steps in. Guard. The Hebrew word there is mashamar, which means a place of confinement, prison, guard post, to watch, observance, an act of guarding. Literally just means to guard. To basically protect. To basically protect these different nations. That's what Russia's gonna do. It's gonna guard. They're gonna guard. Just look up the word guard real quick. One who keeps watch, a body of soldiers, to also care, custody, guardianship. See, to preserve, protect, maintain, a keeping. Yeah, see, so Russia's gonna protect these different nations. It says to keep watch over, guard, protect, maintain, preserve. So that's what Russia's gonna do. They're gonna protect Iran from big bad America. And then what do we have? World War III. Because everybody gonna get involved in. Ooh, this is prophecy. Let's see. Secondly, the U.S. could potentially get drawn into attacking Iran if other Islamic nations enter the conflict on Iran's side. See, that seems unlikely at this stage. But one Iranian official is calling for Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan to form a giant Islamic army to confront Israel. It says, this is a post from X, most likely. It says, Iran calls for Islamic army with Turkey, Saudi, Pakistan. Top Iranian official Mohsin Razi just dropped, and I was just watching this video. We want to form an Islamic army with Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and several other countries. See, thirdly, if this is gonna happen, man. We know for sure, according to prophecy, Turkey is going to get involved on Russia and Iran side. The Saudis, they're partners with, I think they're allied. I think they're allied with the U.S. I think they are allied with the U.S. But who knows? They could join, Iran side. because they are, an Islamic state too. Thirdly, if the Iranians were to use a weapon of mass destruction, that would most certainly provoke a U.S. response. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but one Iranian official has optimistically declared that we haven't yet revealed our unknown weapons. So I was just watching this video of this man, this speech, but I was gonna bring up that video, but it's talking about something totally different. It says, we have reached such a dangerous time in human history. Israel and Iran both consider that this is an existential conflict. So America's going to be destroyed by fire, and this is how war is going to get. America's going to get drawn into it because of their ally, the state of Israel. Malachi 4:1, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and this is the day that America is going to be turned into a lake of fire. It says, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble, which is going to be what? They're going to be burned up. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, said Jehovah of hosts, that it shall lead them neither root nor branch. See, it's going to destroy everything, the whole foundation. Ain't going to be no restoration. Ain't going to be no, America's going to be totally done for, man. Esau is going to be destroyed, and he's going into slavery. So this war is coming quickly. That might be the name of this this lesson. But also, we can't forget we're waiting on the MOTB to be made mandatory. Now that could cause this, these conflicts that are going on right now could cause an economic collapse, and then they bring in the chip. But that's just me speaking as a man. I'm not saying that's how it's going to go down, but just speaking as a man. But with that little willingness left was edifying. Hold on. So you even got China speaking up against it. China's UN envoy condemns Israeli strikes on Iran because another nation that's partnered with Iran is China. It says China's envoy to the United Nations issued a sharp rebuke of Israel's recent military strikes on Iranian territory, calling the attacks a violation of international law and a dangerous escalation in an already volatile region. Speaking during an emergency session of the UN Security Council, Ambassador Fukan urged restraint from all parties and called for renewed diplomatic efforts to de-escalate tensions in the Middle East or Western Asia. So don't forget about China either, man. They might get drawn into the conflict too on Russia's side. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Just an update on current events, man. We looking forward to this thing popping off. We're looking forward to World War III. We getting closer to the end. I'm gonna close out with a scripture. They say there's gonna be peace, but when they say the scripture says when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh. So that's exactly what they were saying to them. Peace and safety. That's what they were saying to those. They thought it was going to be peace talks. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. See, that's what they're trying to push right now. That's what Trump is talking about, peace talks. Ain't gonna be no fucking peace, man. Only war. Romans 13:11. It says, and that knowing the time, that it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe. See, our salvation is closer than we think, bro. So with that, Lord, let's edify. I'm gonna close out by giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great wisdom that will teach well. Shalom.